the inside scoop with Austin Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Welcome to Inside Scoop. And look what we got here. We got the man, the champ, the guy that's been all over the place this last 6 weeks, Kevin Walker. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I am doing great, man. I can't even explain how well I'm doing, but I'm feeling good. How about you guys?
Great,
Wait a minute.
man. Great.
You're not
Thank
Kevin
you.
Walker anymore, aren't you? Didn't you rebrand?
Terrell Walker, I guess, man. So
Yeah,
whatever.
but you can't be T Swift. T Swift is already taken.
T Swift is taken. Who's T Swift?
Are you messing with me?
No, the real T Swift, not Taylor Swift. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
The real T Swift. Who's the real
That's
T
what I
Swift?
was talking about.
They got to be a fighter if you're going to give them Swift.
Oh, well, then, no. I guess you would be it.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
it is. Take T Swift. I'll take it.
What's up, Ty? All right, man. So if you guys, just before, of course, we were sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour and also the 2024 Ocean State Grand Nationals, April 5th through the 7th. This is going to be, I think, the biggest one there is. Everyone's getting hyped for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to talk more about that as we go. But guys, go ahead. If you haven't, get registered. If you hadn't gotten your ticket, I got mine finally this weekend. I took a little bit of time, deciding if I was going to drive or fly, and decided, hey, I'm not going to do that trip in the car this time. And so, how about everyone else?
You East Coast states, that stuff just teases you because you could drive the whole way, so it messes with you. It teases you like you
It
just
is
drive,
like that.
and then you end up in the car for the whole freaking weekend, and it's the worst. Just live out here in the Midwest where you're driving to like 2 tournaments, all right, and that's it. Just book those plane tickets, just bake it in. You don't have to sit in that smelly car all weekend.
So, Kevin, how about you? You flying, right?
I'm going to fly, but the question is where I'm going to fly into. So normally I fly into New York early, and I get some extra training in and then ride down with the guys. And that's usually more economical anyway. So I'm looking into that option right now. The last time I checked, PVD was a bit pricey. But the beautiful thing is coming out of Orlando, especially on the discount airlines, you can catch a good deal. So we'll see.
Oh, that's right. See, I forgot. I'm thinking Atlanta, ATL, and then
Same thing. Same
I
thing.
know. Yeah.
Honestly,
I
you might get better deals out of Atlanta just for how busy the airport is. But for some reason, since I've been in Orlando, I've been catching cheap flights. A lot of these tournaments are last-minute bookings, and I'm still catching decent deals. So
Wow.
That's good. Yeah, I have to drive about 3.5 hours to get to like a lot of times I fly out of North Carolina, but this time I'm going to fly out of the DC area. So,
yeah.
but
How long does it take you to drive? So where do you go, out of Dallas or Reagan?
Most of the time Dulles, but this time it'll be Reagan. Yeah.
How long does it take you to get there?
3.5.
My goodness.
Yeah. Sounds all right, Jeff.
Charlotte's the same way, man. Charlotte's the same way. The best one, that's the cheapest, is Raleigh. That's 2 hours. Yeah.
Now, when you fly in, because you could fly into Providence, or you could fly into Logan, and transport there, depending on the timing. Where are you guys flying into?
He's not sure yet. He said he may drive. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm probably going to fly into Newark or LaGuardia and ride down. But if not, I'll fly into PVD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, this is just a little bit of, all the different things we do in this sport. It's crazy because I try to explain this to like regular people, right? Like what we do and just why we do it. Right. And it's just so funny. I was I was on a Zoom call with my instructor today that we have with all the different people in our system. And, it's more of a lot of times a business call, but a lot of times he's talking about, you know what, like, you don't have to explain why you want to do anything to anyone, and people have said it for years, like, why do you go to all of these tournaments? Why do you go and do this? What? You don't have to explain to nobody. You know what? Yeah, it is. Man.
It's really illogical. Like when you say it out loud,
I know.
like how much we're spending and then what we're actually doing to each other. And then afterwards, oh yeah, Mr. Zangari, I got you, man. Go ahead and fill out some of those checks. It doesn't matter. Kevin or Terrell works because they're both actually my name. So whatever you want to write, I got you.
Well, that's why when you say it doesn't make sense, that's why it's a brotherhood. So like I didn't go to like Kevin, you were at like, I don't know, 1,000 events over the last, 4 weeks, but I went to a local tournament yesterday. I went to my good friend Jeff Christensen's tournament. He has the Southern Wisconsin Open, and I drove a couple hours and went to that tournament. But it's really strange if you think about it, because he's like everyone's best friend, and he's got every old school guy who wants to come there just to be there and hang around for him. And it's a brotherhood. That's all it is. That's the only way you could really say this. The strange thing that we do is a brotherhood. Yep. And that's why you get guys who don't even have karate schools, who really have other lives, but this is the thing they want to do for this weekend because this is it's a piece of them, right? Yeah. And no one's any different, whether this is your profession, this is your livelihood, or this is just a bit of who you are, right? So, yeah, it's strange, weird. We wake up sore on a random Wednesday morning, all right? We got weird scrapes and bumps. Hey, man, we're having ourselves a great time. And it's even worse for all the people who are like, oh, yeah, that's you fighters. No. You forms competitors end up way more injured, right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. True. Forms competitors get way more injured, and those injuries are way worse, right?
What's funny?
ACLs, fractured feet, everything.
What's funny is the bruises that I have. And I'm like, wait a minute, why do I have bruises? I didn't even fight this weekend. What the heck? You have like, you hit yourself with your nunchucks. You do like this a little too hard. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on? You don't feel anything. You wake up like, why does my arm have marks all? Like. I think some of the worst is that we deal with that other people don't is Velcro, like the Velcro burn.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
Velcro
like, wait a minute, like why did this happen?
I have like a permanent scar from one that happened like over one of those. Can I do like a opposite of Alex's story? Like that means it's gonna be short.
Yes.
Hey, I actually watched the show, guys. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So, and I was telling Jeff earlier, the last couple episodes I've actually been watching live. So, yeah, man, I'm going to do an opposite of Alex's story real quick. So, in my elimination fights over the weekend, I had like an incident where, first off, we were fighting in a corner ring in a ballroom. So, there's like a wooden wall and it has a corner. So, I went for a body punch and then a D side. And then, like, the fighter that hit me, like, they kind of really committed to the blitz. So, after I hit him with the D side, their weight knocked me out of the ring. So when that happened, I used my hands to brace the impact. So a lot of people watching it thought my face hit the wall, but it was really my shins and my knees. So it didn't hurt when it first happened. And yes, it's on that corner. But, I got up and finished the match. It was like 15, 20 seconds up. I was up like 8 points. So I finished the match. And then I just felt it throughout the day. So long story short, I get to today and I'm teaching my little kids and I'm down on my knees on the mat and I'm like, oh my Lord, why are my knees so sore? And then literally it took me right back to that moment. So it was funny.
Wow.
Tell a story, Alex.
You ever had, no, now I don't want to tell mine because yours is better. All right. Good. Yeah, but have you ever had a time?
Time out, Alex, time out. We have like legends commenting in the chat. Like
they're having their own conversation.
I love this.
Mr. Zangari, I saw the cash comment. That's even better, my brother.
Yes.
And Ms. Beatty, I've been everywhere as of late. But yeah, that's it. I ain't gonna speak too much on it.
I love it. All right, yeah.
Anthony Alex, Price and Jeff Gears. What's happening, guys? How have we never had Jeff Gears?
Oh, Jeff Gears is in the chat.
He's in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan. I'm very positive he doesn't know who I am. First off, I watched a lot of your stuff coming up, my good sir.
Word.
And whenever I would mention your name to the next generation, a lot of these people would be like, "Who?" And I'm like, "All right, exactly. Go and watch. Go and watch. Go and watch." I referred a lot of your videos. I learned a lot from watching you. So, wow, crazy. All right.
It's awesome,
What's
right?
up, sir? Bow in
All right.
respect.
Let's get into your 6 weeks, Kevin. Let's do it. Let's get into this because you've
All right.
have not only do we have we're going to talk about Cowboy Up and everything and how awesome you did this weekend, but man, you've been everywhere. So let's hear it.
Okay, give me 1 second because I don't want to start off at the wrong spot. So I'm almost like Bailey. I learned a lot from Bailey Murphy, man. The way he has everything in that little
Oh,
phone.
I know.
Yeah, I took a page out of his book. So really quick, I'm in the wrong page. Give me 5 seconds.
What's happening, Mr. Price?
Yes,
AP's
sir.
gonna try. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see. Recent.
Look at that. Jeff Gears is giving you a shout out too, Kev. You know what we
really?
should do?
What did he say?
Mr. Gears, we should get
He
you
knows
and
who you
AP on the show together. That would be
Wow.
fantastic.
That would be
That would be-
huge. All right. So the last 6 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we start off with the Waco USA Nationals, right?
Oh
Right.
yeah.
I'm
Good
here
event.
in Florida. I have a pad. Basically, I've told people who I'm close with, this is your haven whenever you're in Central Florida. If you're ever in Central Florida, don't worry about a place to stay. I got you. So I have a 2-bedroom spot with a decent common area. So at the U.S. Open last year, I had like 8, 9 competitors staying with me. And I'm about 40 minutes from actual Disney World, Orlando. So it was
Wait, how do you just have a second property? What is this?
So I live in Florida.
Okay.
I live in Florida. I have a property.
Alex is
So
behind.
at my
I'm a
property,
little.
I'm only one person. I have a 2-bedroom loft. So there's 2 bedrooms plus living common space. So I tell people that I'm close with, whenever you're in Central Florida, if you want to come train, if you need to compete, you need a place to lay your head, just hit me. I got you. So US Open last year, I had like 7, 8 different bodies who was competing like here. And, we're chilling, like learning from each other, stand up and exchanging ideas and strategizing for the next day. So these are the types of things that happen.
That's where growth really
Yeah.
kind of starts to happen there as well.
And like I can only speak for myself, but anybody that you've seen associated with or near me in the last 2-3 years, they've grown and their results have grown. And I'm not saying I'm the reason for that. What I'm saying is me and everybody who I'm surrounding myself with, we're on the same type of time. We're on the same type of mission. And that's why, we're yielding the results that we are yielding.
I love
So
that. That's true.
Waco USA Nationals, we have a good crew of people here. We go and represent. I win the -79 division. Cool. Fast forward the next week, Memphis Open. Right. I've been wanting to go to the Memphis Open for like the last 4 or 5 years, but it's like a conflicting day. Like when I was in Georgia, my students and I would normally go to Master Young S1's tournament, and Amy Latta, they host a tournament usually that same weekend. So it kind of conflicted with me in the past, and it always made a little more sense economically to go to Columbus. So this year, being in Florida, I found a cheaper ticket to Memphis than I did to Atlanta. So I went to Memphis. Memphis, I wanted to fight there and win there. Cool. The week after, compete internationals. Go there. Week after, Dutch Open. Go there. The week after that, Canadian Open. So country, back to back. Foreign, back to back. And then after Canadian Open, we had Cowboy Up. So out of those 6 events, honestly, 5 of them I never competed in before. Well, actually, I take it back. I competed in Waco USA Nationals, but this is the first time in Florida under the new regime. So last time we had the new regime, but we're in Tennessee. It felt and looked completely like a different event.
Who all made the U.S. team?
Who made the U.S. team?
Yeah.
Man, I wish you'd asked me that question like 5 weeks ago. I know, but it'd have been a lot more fresh on the mind.
Yeah, I mean, same. I can rattle off some of the names, but
and you guys talked about it.
Yeah.
Yes, I was sure you guys talked about it.
I was here.
Papa was there. I was there.
If anybody's got it in the chat, just chime in and
a lot of
it
the
in there.
were dope. We saw a lot of people make it, and this is actually a junior year for Worlds. I'm not sure. I have to double check. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I believe we take top 2.
It's top 2.
It's top 2.
So we have a number of solid competitors that made the team, man.
Yeah,
Shout out,
it was a really good weekend. It was a really good
shout out
weekend.
to Danny from Damien School. Danny's killing it. Looked great. Kitana Everett looked great. Oh my lord, the blitzing that we saw that day was insane. Collins Howard, she didn't come out on top, but you heard me mention her name on these podcasts before. She always impressed when she's out, and she's kind of getting her feet back in the game after winning a world championship last year. So I'm excited. Like a lot of people, boys, girls, men, and women, we have a lot to look forward to with Waco this year.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so
Well, I
before
don't know
we get
much
into
about the
Cowboy Up,
Dutch Open. Tell me
yeah,
about
tell
the
us
Dutch
about
Open.
Dutch Open and Canadian Open because
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say, Jeff.
Okay, Dutch Open, man. This was my first time doing a European Waco in a minute. And the funny thing is, like with the guys who went and won the Worlds last year, like before last year's Worlds, I had probably the most experience internationally than any of the guys that go, right? Because I've been fighting internationally since like 07, 08,
Yeah.
So, but here recently they've gotten a lot of exposure to the scene, especially what it is now, because it has grown and evolved. And the athletes, I don't want to say they're catching up, because honestly, what it really feels like is they're playing a different sport, right?
it's like,
We're not
that's what it looks like. Yeah, you're right.
we're not participating in that sport here. Like it's the rules are
Right.
different, the fighting times are different, the athletes, the styles are different. So with that being said, a lot of my peers and cohorts, they have had that experience in a more recent fashion than me. So going out there, it was a bit of an adjustment. Now we train that way here all the time, so it wasn't like I had to adjust to the movements, but I just kind of had to adjust to how I was fighting, the styles that I was fighting, the way the judges were calling things, right? So Friday we had tag team and open weight. For a lot of my peers, it was a big adjustment for us. Nobody really fared too well that day, with the exception of Alexi Jimenez.
Yeah.
She is my coworker. She's my partner here at Chop House Sanford, and she's been doing a great job ever since we brought her on board. I'm really excited to have her as part of the team. Yeah, I didn't know that she could teach as well as she does, right? She's an exceptional fighter, but just as good, if not better, with the kids and actually sharing her wealth of knowledge. So, we've been training together since last year a lot, and then she came on board with us as an employee within the last 2 to 3 months, and she has been training her butt off, and she went and killed it over there. So she made it into the open weight final, and I believe she lost to Tina in a very close match. Right. So then we fast forward to Saturday. Saturday, we had the individual competition. You can always do your weight class in one or maybe two above.
1 or 2 up, yeah.
So I did minus 74 and minus 79. So I went in and I made weight right at 74. And then I moved
Those are
up to
good
79.
divisions.
So 79 is what I actually qualified for Waco. I was being tempted to move up to 84 just for the World Combat Games. But, when we were at the Waco Worlds, I saw both Mason and Devin. And, I'm just looking at the situation. I'm like, okay, I really don't want to deal with the headache of fighting these big and longer guys. So let me just fight where I'm supposed to be. And then I'll let Mason and Devin and whoever's really in that weight class, I'll let them determine that. Because if anything, to my knowledge, I believe there was a 74 or 69 option for the World Combat Games. So if anything, if whoever won that representation doesn't make it, I have no problem cutting to that way. I would rather cut and fight a smaller fighter than move up.
Okay, time out. Repeat that. So what you're saying is that minus 84 qualifies for the World Combat Games. The weight class does.
Yeah.
So it's still another prerequisite as well. So Waco USA, you qualify, but then you have to go to the Pan Am Games and then win. And then
Right.
you World Combat Games.
But the weight class itself has to qualify. Is that right?
For next year's China Games or wherever it is, to my knowledge, minus 84 was the closest division to my natural weight. But like I said, I had 2 or 3 people trying to tell me to do that. But then when the competition day came, and this isn't a slight at it, it started running a little late, and I kind of had plans. So I wanted to just kind of get myself solidified in my actual weight class and then get going. Because the plan was for me to do 79 and 84, or maybe even 74, 79, 84. And it was a big mix up for that because I had death in the family like right before that. So I literally flew into Florida, or I flew into Georgia and made it to Florida that day before. So yeah, it was just a lot going on. So I had been traveling, so I just made my division and I left. So that's how that worked.
All right, so Saturday,
Saturday categories in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So I do 74, I do 79. 74, I'm feeling really good because I'm very motivated from the night before. Like I felt like I lost to somebody who wasn't better than me, right? And you know, I have no problem losing to somebody who fought better. Even if you're not better than me, if you fought better that day or in that match, I have no problem. I love that process of losing, learning, getting better, and then fighting better, especially when I have a second chance the next day. Right? So I lost to the guy who won. It wasn't necessarily a good fight, right? But you know, I feel like I did enough to where the final score of the outcome of the match did not reflect what happened in the fight. So with that being said, I was very motivated going into the next day. Minus 74, I fought one of the fighters who was on the team that beat us in tag team. I fought with Mr. Tyson Ray. So it goes by the name, I believe, Jack Buckley. I believe he's from the UK. Good fighter, solid fighter. I've been watching. The funny thing is, the last time, if I'm not mistaken, if this is the same guy, the last time I remember seeing him, he was a little guy, right? So that's why it's so funny coming back after a few years, because now like a lot of these top up and coming competitors, they're now the ones that's coming at you. And I really
there's been enough time that's elapsed,
right?
That
I'm
now
getting
they're either older or bigger or both.
Yeah, and, you know, and better. So and he approached that fight like I wasn't who my name is. So and I love that. I love when people really get there and just want to fight, want to beat me. That was perfect. Now, we were fighting like a very normal fight to start. And like I noticed when the light went off above his head, he stopped fighting me in a normal orthodox fashion. He started using the ring, right? And I was getting a little frustrated because I knew he had that type of fighting style. Like normally he's doing that or he's being super aggressive, right? And I was loving the aggressive Jack. And you know, when he got into moving, I wasn't really committing to hitting him because I knew that's what he wanted me to do. So I was trying to get him to make a decision and then make him pay off of his mistake. But it was well scouted. His coach, they prepared him very well. And so in that fight, I'm not going to say I couldn't figure it out, but, you know, when I had the chances to engage with him and I was throwing the things I felt that the judges wanted to see, calls that I felt should have been solely my point or 1 point each, were going directly to him, right? And, you know, some of these may or may not have been bad calls. So I'm finding myself reacting to some of these calls in the match. And that's one of the biggest learning lessons I've been dealing to myself over the last several years. Like, before I fight, I meditate and tell myself not to react to a bad judge's call, because guess what? It's going to happen. Like, we don't have good judges. So bad calls are going to happen more times than not. And no disrespect, Alex, like you're one of the, you know, more solid judges, but for the most part, we don't have good judges. Like for the level of competition that we put out,
right?
The judging doesn't match. Okay, and that's not a slight. That's not disrespect. This is a sport. I continue to participate in the sport, so I'm either dumb or I just really love this because I continue to support it, even though I know I'm going to get more of the same. So
here's one thing I'll say about that, and I think you're going to echo what I'm going to say. If there's 200, 300, you know, male fighters in there, and there are 3 good judges, we would all sit and wait and do one division at a time and just have those 3 guys do it. And we would know, like, okay, now we know this is just how long I have to wait. And we're just going to sit here. But that's what, wouldn't we do that?
Facts. Or a guy like me, you'll let two rock, and then you know how to block out that bad judge. So like a lot of times,
there you go.
If you ever see me fight, when I start moving and using the ring, I notice who's a weak link, who's making bad calls. And I'm trying to I'm trying to make their vote not even count. I want to get in a position where they're not even seeing what I'm doing. And I feel like I might be talking too much. I might be sharing too much of a secret because I don't
think it is.
I doubt many of our audience.
You're giving good advice.
I'm giving great advice, but you know, a lot of people pay me for this. You know,
well, then you might want to. I don't know. then you
Yeah.
may
So
want.
with that being said, let me shameless plug. Swift coaching is still a thing. So if you want to tap into this tutelage, man, we're here. All right. But yeah.
All
So
right. Yeah.
back to the story. We're going out.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. I'll speed it up. All right. So I lost that match. That guy won. Moved on to the 79 division. Funny thing though, the two guys that beat me were both in that division, and I'm like, perfect. I have my chance to redeem myself. We go out there. There's no like bow-in process, but I look around, I don't see them suited up. So instantly, I am pissed off. I'm ticked off because the two guys that beat me, they're not fighting. And I get it. You if you win open weight the day before, there's really no reason to fight for free in this division.
Right.
And then if you win tag team the day before and you win your actual weight category, there's no reason to move up and fight the guy who's like chomping at the bit to kick your butt. So I
Okay,
get
so they
it.
went open weight. They went tag team.
One person won open weight. I believe his name is Corey Cook.
Sure.
And then the other gentleman won minus 74, Jack Buckley. And I'm not calling it, and I'm not saying that they didn't want to fight me.
No. That's okay.
Right.
I don't think you are.
They won their actual divisions. So I get why you would not do a division up. I get it. So when I came out there, and I told Jesse I didn't want to count that as a divisional win because I didn't fight the two guys I wanted to fight. However, he said you can't help who lines up in front of you. So at the same time, much respect to coach. Yeah. So whoever lined up, that's who lined up, and they were eliminated. So I won the 79 division, which is my actual weight category for Broncos. So decent trip. One out of the 4 divisions, cool. I felt good. It was good to get the rust off because going into that environment, usually I'm a very confident person, right? And I'm not saying I entered that environment lacking confidence, but because it was a different environment than what I'm used to, I kind of was a bit more reserved going into it, especially Friday. I was very reserved going into warming up, going into actually fighting. And then when I finally lost a couple times and was like, all right, this was too long of a trip, too much money spent for me to not get a goal something. Let me kick whoever is in front of me. Let me eliminate them. Be done with it. So 79, it was like no doubt left. And I love the whole 2-round matches. Like I said, we're playing different sports. Over there, they're a lot more geared for these situations because it's 2 rounds every time. So a lot of the matches went to maximum score. There were some that I kind of let play around, but the actual outcome of the match wasn't in question. So
pause.
Yes.
Would you rather have double elimination or 2 rounds?
That's actually a good question. I feel like it just depends on which side of the bed I get out of that day. Right? It just really depends. Because personally, as a fighter, the reason why I don't like double elimination is probably the reason why I'm good at it. Because I don't want to end up in a loser's bracket and fighting out. So usually when I fight double elimination, I fight well enough to just eliminate who I need to and then wait for the other losers to eliminate themselves and then fight final. That's usually how it goes when I'm at a double elimination event. However, a 2-round match allows me to strategize a little more, and the pressure of trying not to lose is still there. And oh man, you're taking me into a funny story that takes me to the weekend, and I want to hold off on that until we get to that point.
Oh, okay. You're more calculated
than
I am.
Let's go into Canadian Open.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go to that. And then we'll go.
Open. So that takes me back to my childhood. This is an event that I wanted to go to ever since I was an underbelt. Grown men should not be able to lose twice. I get that, B. Murph. But if the division is double elimination, you didn't lose until you've been eliminated.
You actually do less fighting in double elimination.
But I get it. Yeah, I get it, though. Especially at a tournament. For some reason, double elimination just feels like it takes longer. And on top of that, I've had officials bracket double elimination wrong way more times than I've ever had a 2-round match.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've
seen that.
To answer that, I prefer.
And in nationals, we did 3 rounds. So that was some of the. Did you do 3 rounds in your division?
3 rounds in my division at nationals.
I think you did because they changed it after.
You know what? I did, but the
match
finished.
Yeah.
The match finished as soon as the 3rd round started.
That's right.
So
there you go.
I did. Yeah. Nice guy too. I forget his name, but very nice guy. I'm going to try to set up some training with them very soon. I think they're in the Texas area, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are. Sugarland.
Yeah. So to Canadian Open. Once again, that was a tournament I wanted to go to for a long time. So scratching that one off the bucket list. Made it there. I was just in a situation where I needed to win, and I would have loved to have some more competition. I feel like most of the top Canadians popped out. Now, all weekend, a lot of the Canadians that I was having close conversations with, they can tell you this. Like, I am a huge fan of Dwayne. I'm a huge Dwayne fan.
Kid's fast.
Before these additions to the team, I'm on record saying last year and the year before, he's the best fighter on his team. Like, I'm on record saying that. And so I was a little disappointed to not see him there. I don't know. I heard like from like the third or fourth person I told that to, somebody told me he might be nicked up, banged up a little bit. I don't know. You know, that's just hearsay. So like for the most part, a lot of the top tip competition was there with the exception of Dwayne, Hunter Stevens, and honestly, I mean, and Ben. Like, so those three guys were the most notable three that I didn't see, that I expected to at least see 33 or 66% of that. But other than that, they were not Connecticut. Canada was well represented, right? So you had the Bailey Murphy seminar Friday, and then you had open weight and then two-man team sparring. So the open weight was cool. They separated into two different rings. You had Michael Macri come out of the far ring, and then I came out of the other ring. The final fight in my ring was me and Jacob. I don't want to butcher his last name, but Jacob R.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
Roach, Roke. I don't know. I've never taken the time to ask him to actually pronounce his last name.
He's a much better fighter than his name is.
Dude, I told him 2 years ago, if you keep coming and working hard and understanding your length and distance, you're going to be an issue. And you fast forward, I see him fighting Avery Plowden in the runoff.
Yeah.
AK Warrior Cup. And like, I'm not saying he was a threat to beat him, but it was a decent fight. Like for me, seeing him a few years ago and seeing where he was at AK, I said, wow, you what I said to you has come true. Right? So he's been fighting awesome. I forget exactly who the fight was on the other side. I want to say it was Michael and Jason, maybe. I don't know. But Michael came out of the end over there. So the final match came down to me and Michael. It's a really good match, man. I really like Michael. He's very strong talent. I can't even say he's up and coming anymore. He's here. He's challenging everybody who he fights.
Yeah.
We just put the little veteran international style on him. Because me as the American fighter, I don't want to expose too much of my hand. But anytime I'm in a situation where I can use these international rules to my advantage, I'm going to do it. So I'm not going to go too in depth with what that means. You guys, are experienced. I feel like you understand what I mean, what I'm getting at when I say that.
Yeah.
So, whenever I'm in an international setting and I have the ability to use these things and not be frowned upon, I'm going to take advantage of it. So that's really what happened in that match. That was the deciding factor. So I went to a certain set of techniques. Yeah, we can get the rematch, bro. Like anytime, bro. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I want to encourage people. The act of actually fighting and being competitive, that's cool. It is okay to fight your friend hard. All right. It is okay.
Oh, you fight your friends the hardest.
Yes, right. You feel me? It's okay to post highlights of what you did at an event. Because guess what? You're not doctoring what happened. You're just displaying what happened. You're not making up what happened. If you hit them with that, you hit them with it. So there's no shame in sharing that. Promote yourself. Shout out to my man, Mr. Brian Scott with Rockstar Marketing, man. He's been on me for like the last 3-4 years about, really advertising and marketing myself, right? And, for a minute there, I had a lot of personal things going on. And like, this is my first time really addressing this publicly. I had a lot of personal issues going on, and I allowed that to affect my outward, how I marketed and pushed myself. So I really haven't been posting clips and all these things publicly in a minute. Now, however, there's a lot of people who work with me behind the scenes. I have no problem doing that. I'm very approachable. If you want to contact me and get in any work, any time, I'm always there and willing for that. So I feel like I'm doing Alex again. My fault. This is the last time I'm going to say that.
Do you, man?
All right. So back to Canadian.
You tell my face. You just look at my face and be like, all right.
Yeah. Managed to get through that. Tag teams, or not tag team, two-man teams straight up. We lost our first fight. We lost to the Giants of Canada. That's what I'm gonna call them. So I believe we had Ryan Bennett and Jacob. They were on the same team. And so myself and Jason fought them. We came up a little short. It was a very good fight. They both fought us very well. And I believe the winners were Nico and Colin from Michigan. Once again, I don't want to butcher his name. If I could read his name, I could pronounce it correctly. I don't want to say it now. But yeah, Colin from Duvras Taekwondo in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, from Mr. Chris and
Chris Gore.
the Gore School. Yeah.
He's the one I saw him at Ozarks last year, right? Is he the one that you fought at Ozarks?
So that's the crazy thing. This kid, I don't know if he might be just 18, and I fought him like 6-7 times already, and every time I fight him, he gets better. Right? And the first time I fought him, I'm not going to say he fought the name, but he didn't fight with the confidence of, all right, I'm about to beat this guy. After that match, I pulled him to me like he was my I don't even want to say student, like he was my teammate, right? And I was like, yo, bro, you have all the skills. I want you to fight everybody the way you would fight in your karate school. I know you have the resources that fighting me is like fighting other people that you train with. So I want you to fight me the way you would fight them. And ever since then, like, he's really brought it to me. And last year at Ozark was probably our best fight. So this year, you know, I just, like I said, I had a mission. I was on a mission. I even messaged Robbie before the tournament. I said, yo, I'm not playing with any of these guys. When I get here, I'm about to beat everybody. And then afterwards, let's go have fun. And, like, I have a screenshot of that message. So fast forward to the next day. Individual divisions, there's 4 weight classes. Golly, come on, Ben. I know you're in the chat. Is that Jacob? What's the guy? Oh, it's not Jacob. What's the guy who won lightweight? Huh?
Is it Jacob? Not the tall guy you were talking about, right? Is that
the small guy who I end up fighting in the final? I don't want to put his name.
Yeah, I've never seen that guy before.
Jordan. I'm terrible with that. Jordan. All right,
Okay.
Jordan is lightweight. Liam is light middleweight. Liam North.
He's got a lot better.
I win middleweight, and Jacob wins heavyweight. So, yeah. So the finals came down to I think Liam got hurt in the division. So once he beat Jason for first and second, his back was tightened up and he wasn't in the mix anymore. So it was between the 4 of us. We drew numbers. First fight was me and Jacob. Winner that went to fight. What did I say? His name was what? Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan Rodriguez. Yep. This is his name.
So the final goes to fight Jordan. So good match. I don't want to butcher the scores, but yeah, both neither were decided at the last second. Like it was not very close matches. Now the second match was closer, if I'm not mistaken, than the first match. But however, you remember how I told you international play, I started going to something, and towards the end I started to pull away. So yeah, that was a good weekend. On the ladies' side, can't forget them. Karina from Straight Up won open weight. And then Savannah from Straight Up. Y'all like that.
Won the grand. We talked about that last week. So yeah, that was good, man. That was good. Like, again, we're talking about 3 amazing fighters now with Straight Up, all from Canada, right?
Kevin, Karina, and Savannah. It's crazy. All these Canadians on the team.
It's crazy.
Nah, just crazy. So, but yeah, that gets us into the topic of the day,
so
man.
Let's get into the. Hey, this is kind of what I've labeled it: Cowboy Confrontation. Let's go, Cowboy Up.
Let's not do that, Howdy. Don't. Yeah, it's not that. There's no confrontation. I'm non-confrontation.
I know. All right.
There was something.
So,
what do you want to talk about?
Tell us something.
So listen, you had a hell of a weekend winning tag team with Laney Barrett. You won the open weight. Who did you fight in the final for the open weight?
So the final was
Alex Macias.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I think I saw like a post, so that's why I'm reminded of the score. I believe it was 6-3. It was a very good match. He started off fast. Like when I fought him, he started off the match great, and I was like, oh, let me try to slow him down a little bit, because if he keeps this pace up, he could probably get more points like that. So, I just tried to slow the match down, and he allowed it to slow down. And then when it did, the very next point, I went ahead, and I don't think I released the lead after that. We might have been tied after that, but it wasn't like he had the lead anymore. So it was a very good match, and that's another person who gets better every time I fight them. Alex, shout out to him. I'm very impressed with what he's done over the last year. He's earned so much respect from me. Not even as a fighter, just as a martial artist. This guy fights and competes, forms and weapons at the highest of levels, and is doing it consistently. And he's on one of the best teams ever, right? So, props to him. Keep going, keep the pressure up, because he's made me better in the last year or so, right? Ocean State last
too, man. He could play his other opportunities that he's doing is really cool too. Some of the commercials he's been doing, all kinds of things that he does with his fitness and his job doing that. So it's cool, man.
He's a huge motivating factor for what I do, in his results as well as just his lifestyle. I see it. I watch it all, and I'm very inspired.
I mean, I asked early on into his competition. I was like, because I saw him winning all these weapons championships, but I didn't see him winning really even fighting. I'm like, I don't know what is this guy? And I asked that early on, not disparagingly, but I was really wanting to know,
he'll make you put
what is he?
I was
just really curious.
He has 2 grands this year.
Look at him now.
He has 2 fighting grands this year. Now,
and I gotta say this though. I gotta say this as well. I'm able to look at this and go, he and Damon, they work very well with each other.
I agree. I agree.
Very, very well with each other.
Damon brings positivity out.
They both. Well, I'm not going to go too far, but they're both doing a fantastic job.
I think he's a very underrated coach. We don't really talk about what he's pulling from his fighters on top to bottom. There, and it's funny. There's juniors on that team now, and a lot of them, they're phenomenal. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they are.
But at the same time, but how about this though? Wait a minute now, because there's certain fighters that are just perfect for certain coaches. Okay, and some fighters are it's just not gonna go well. How about this? Let's say Enrique Latona was being coached by Damon. How do you think that would go?
I think we might see a different fighter.
I would hope you'd see a different fighter, but why would you think you're going to see a different Enrique Latona? Now, with Damian Rodriguez, that makes
I think we've
so
already
much
seen a difference with that too.
Because of the relationship.
Yeah, we have seen a difference. Yeah,
I think we've seen a difference with that too. The skills
we have seen a difference with that's true. We have seen a little bit of a different fighter there too. So that's a good point. I mean, there's certain fighters that I'll say this. There's certain fighters cannot fight for Mike Conroy. Because he'll eat you alive, right?
Well, are they really fighters, or are they really coachable? If that's the case, because Mike Conroy is one of the best in the business, and he's
he's one of the best.
He's going to get the best out of real fighters,
right? Yeah. Which is why if you're not, that's the thing. If you're not really trying to win, if you're just trying to be kind of good, he'll eat you alive. You can't.
He's going to make you very self-aware. You're going to understand that you're not a winner, and
bingo.
You
not
might
everybody, but listen, can we just call it how it is? Not everybody's trying to win.
That's the funny thing. I don't get that. I can't get that.
You don't believe that? Come
I don't even want to try to understand. I don't even want to try to understand. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic.
No.
I don't even.
Let me explain.
Loser mentality.
All right. Let me paint you this, and I think maybe I'll explain it this way. Okay, you've had it where you've been fighting guys and you get deep into a match and there's an up and coming guy there or someone who really is not on your level yet.
Okay.
And there's points to be had. And they let that opportunity go. And they let the next opportunity go. And they sit there faking in front of you, but they don't ever actually do nothing. You know what I mean? It's like that one weird Dave Chappelle skit about that guy who just sounds like they're about to start rapping, but then never gets around to it.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing about that guy who just stands there faking, but then never actually does anything, right?
Yeah.
So then they're not actually trying to win, right?
Yeah.
They're not trying to win that day.
They're just
Wow.
trying not to get knocked out or embarrassed or highlighted. I get it. Yeah. I still don't get that though. Like we're there trying to win, and I don't know. Like all right, I get it. I get having attainable goals. So like some people just really don't have a chance, right? So and I encourage those people to go out and learn something though, right? Don't worry about the result. Worry about your performance. Make sure you're actually improving upon the last time you strapped up your gear. Were you better than the last time you put on your gear? If so, you're moving in the right direction. Because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So everybody who's winning now had to start somewhere.
Right. All right. So Kevin,
polite.
let's get into this. Let's get into this matchup, man, because the overall grands, dude, like it was a great fight. It was a crazy fight. So let's talk about it. You versus Tice Talbot for the lightweight overall at Cowboy Up. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
All right. So strictly on the match, I had a hard time deciding on how I was going to approach this going forward. And this isn't a strategic thing. This is more so about how I was going to play just the matchup. So long story short, in my mind, you have to understand, I won 160s. I won the welterweight division, and Tice won 150s. He won the light welterweight division. So really, this is the welterweight grand championship.
Oh,
Yeah, so how did that work out?
Which is really a one-round fight, right?
So how did we end up with you guys fighting for the lightweight overall?
There were no
let him
representatives.
answer.
There were no
Shut up.
representatives. There was no representatives in 140 or 130s.
Okay. Yeah. So they said,
So-
"I'll just take it to the grand." Okay.
So instead of us fighting it off during the day, which I was trying to do, because I really only wanted to do the mixed teams and be done. Especially when I heard mixed teams was going to be first, I was like, "Oh Lord, let's get it over with." So, but yeah. So with that happening, I was trying to decide like for hours before the fight, and we had a lot of time to think. I actually had time to go to the river walk and go. I saw sights before the finals, all that craziness, just unfocused stuff. So I come back and then I'm thinking, I was like, okay, do I want to tell them before the fight that this is the welterweight grand and that it's only one round? And I was like, nah, let's not do that because I don't know how that one round is going to go. So I told myself, I convinced myself, okay, at the end of this first round, as long as I'm up, I'm going to protest the second round and we're going to be done. So like the whole time in the fight, Tice gets off to this crazy lead. It's like 3-0. And I'm just like, oh snap. Like I really don't want to fight 2 rounds. Let me try to beat him now so that I can be like he's going to be wanting to fight the second round. And I'm going to tell him like, yo, this is welterweight grand. Like, so unless the promoter's like, no, y'all are fighting 2 rounds, I was going to make sure it was only 1 round. So with that being said, I'm down 2 at the end of the first round. And I'm like, so much for that plan. But like you can see before we bow in, as I'm turning around, doing my anchor, I'm about to turn around and tell Charles Garrett, hey, it's only 1 round. But I thought about it, and I turned around and continued. So long story short, first round happens. He's fighting me a lot differently because I believe I fought him, if not twice this year, I fought him twice in the last 6 months. I fought him in open weights at the last couple tournaments. So Diamonds fought him open weight. It wasn't the outcome wasn't in question. And then I fought him open weight and compete. Outcome wasn't in question. Now both of them, I played them close. Like once I got a lead, there was room for him to make the match interesting, but either he was just very subtle, like wasn't really aggressive, trying to force the issue, or I was just moving and making it hard for him. So like that's my whole thing. Like sometimes with a fighter that I know like works, like he has a good counter. Like he wants to set up his spin kick. Like he wants me to kick at him so he can spin. And I'm not going to give him that. So
Right.
A lot of times I'm going to make him think I'm a kick so he can spin, and then I'm taking off because my blitz is going to be faster than the spin. And that's just a simplistic strategy. Like, of course, it's way more in depth than that. I'm a way more cerebral person than that, but just me giving you the quick run. So at the end of the first round, I closed the gap a little bit. I'm down 2. Starting the second round, I immediately score, body punch blitz. And then like the second round, I noticed fatigue starting to set in. Like, this is just me speculating, but like he wasn't fighting me with the same fervor in the second round as he was in the first round, right? It wasn't the same speed. It wasn't the same aggression. Granted, he had a lead, so he didn't have to do that. But what you were doing was working. You stopped doing what was working. Something else happened. And just toward the end, I felt like I was appealing to the judges enough because 85% of those exchanges, he ended up on the boundary or out of bounds, right? And I'm not hitting him. I'm not knocking him that way. Like, I'm pushing him backwards and he's moving backwards. But once he gets close to the line, I'm careful not to push you out because I want to score on you. So a lot of times I'm taking off from far away because I know if you counter, you're going to go out of bounds. So a lot of times he's getting the counter up there because I'm going from a bit far. But at the same time, I'm down. I need to force the issue. And if we rewind to compete, like this is me just talking about consistency. If you look at any of my teammates, Karina or Ben, if they got close to the out of bounds line, we're stopping the match and we're awarding the point to this other fighter right now. Mm-hmm. That did not happen once in this fight. And I actually like all three of those officials. Whenever I see any of those three officials, I'm actually cool with them judging my fights because they've shown themselves to be competent and consistent. However,
it's just a different day.
The consistency of the rules, how they were enforced on this stage was a little different than the compete stage. However, I don't know if the stage was just bigger or if the ring setup was a little more, because that's another thing. Compete, the stage was normal size, but the fighting area was smaller than it was supposed to be. But they were still strictly enforcing those rules.
Those rules, yeah.
So, like, you had the ring space to accommodate us for 7x7 or whatever it's supposed to be, but they were calling it as soon as your foot touches the end of square 6, you were getting a penalty point. And in Saturday's fight, he didn't even get a vocal warning, right? And there's just small things that I review and I think back and I'm like, does that have anything to do with me not having a coach behind me? Does that have something to do with the greatest of all time being the coach behind him, right? Like, why are we not getting that feedback? So, throughout the match, I'm stopping the match. Stop time. Yo, he's out of bounds. I didn't touch him. Like, what's up? And I'm not begging for a point, but I can you please communicate something to him? Or, so that you guys are more likely to award me in that situation. Because if you look at that, that's such an ugly fight. That's one of my worst fights of this year, right? But it was very exciting because it was a 6-point comeback with 14 seconds left. 5-point comeback with 10 seconds left. No exaggeration. There's like when I was down 6 and scored and forced it to be 5, he stopped time. Now, he probably legitimately had to fix his foot pad. But like I said, the whole time, I'm a masterful body language reader. I'm looking at him. I'm like, he's not fighting me the same. Either he's comfortable or he doesn't really have the energy to keep doing what he was doing. So at that point, I had already made a decision. I'm not.
Come on, we all know the fix the foot pad thing.
Yeah, it might have been legit because he was wearing.
That's a I'm gassed kind of thing. I'm not saying he was, but that is a tactic.
He was wearing the ghost gear. What's that? The gear that the All Stars wear?
Is it Evo? Evo?
Yeah, Evo. The Evo ghost gear. Evolution.
Stuff looks good.
He was wearing that. So he probably actually had to fix the foot pad, which I get it. But last 10 seconds, I made a decision. I'm not losing to this kid. And that was the decision I made before the fight. But I was just very frustrated because there was no feedback to him for going out of bounds. So I was like, okay, cool. Last 10 seconds, that's 3 kicks. Come on, I got it. So there was zero doubt in my mind at any point in the match that I wasn't going to win. I was just hoping I didn't piss the judges off so much that they didn't call my points.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah.
So that's why I felt like my appeal to them was very respectful. Like I was like, stop time. I'm like, yo, he's out of bounds. I didn't kick him. And like they were saying push, right? But this is different. The Waco push is different from the NASCA push.
From the NASCA push, yeah.
The push in NASCA is somebody actually hitting you and knocking you out. That is okay. If you out of bounds when somebody actually makes contact with you, cool. That's how the rule has been explained. However, the Waco rule, the way they've explained, especially here in the States for the USA Sport Karate rules, is if there's contact made, if you're kicking and you make contact with my hand, that's a push. In NASCA, that's not how the rule is explained.
No.
So I was very adamant about making that point. So long story short, second round, just kind of forced the issue. He's scoring good points. Like I looked at the fight, I'm like, dang, when do I start to come back? and like he got a 2-pointer. Like there was one where I took off. It wasn't the best blitz, but the body punch was there first. Now he was able to get off a side kick, which is why I wouldn't complain about not getting the point. But however, he got his side kick like after getting punched. So I'm just like, ugh. I would have preferred that have been a no call. But you know, it was a really good fight. And shout out to him. That's another fighter who every time I fight him, he tends to get better. I've noticed that. But secondly, like there's two things about me. Like I'm a very self-motivated person. And a lot of times I take that Michael Jordan approach and use the most outlandish things to motivate me sometimes, right? So my motivation fighting him before was when we were both much younger. I think this might have been his first tournament in adults. Like he actually beat me at AKA Grands one time. And it may or may not have been the best officiated match, but at the end of the day, he won. So when that happens to me, I make it a point of seeking out the people that beat me and making it right. Because the only thing that's going to make it right is me beating them and then continuing to beat them. And for the most part, that's how it has been. And so that had been the previous motivating factor. Now, the new motivating factor, I will be completely honest. When I made the change of teams, probably a week or two later, the first public announcement you see is this gentleman and his two brothers being on the team. Great pickup, great opportunity for him, like huge, like great job. But however, just in my mind, the way my sick and twisted mind works, yeah, if I fight him, I'm fighting the new version of who I was supposed to be, right? You're the replacement, the person. And whenever you replace somebody or put into somebody's space, you want them to, be better. You want them to grow. And like I want to see him be successful. However, when I fight him, my motivation is I want to dominate. I don't want this to even be close. I want them to understand who I am and why I am who I am, right? And so it was a little bit of that. So for me in that fight, I didn't do that. However, I came back from down 5 and 10 seconds left. So I was very excited in that moment. Usually on stage, if you look back to like 2016 when I'm winning my first big titles, cool, I'm very emotional. A lot of times there's a lot of crying. But after that, I pretty much acted like I've been there before. And that's usually how I would take that approach. But this time, I hadn't been there before. I hadn't come back for a grand championship down 5 with 10 seconds left. So I was very excited. I was very emotional. However, when that happened, we went to bow out. Now, I think I jumped the gun. I probably shouldn't have went to his side of the ring as fast as I did. But granted, it did take me a minute to finish and start to bow out. So, I went over to his side. I went to shake his hand. And shout out to him. Like, he handled this with so much class. Because if I was in his situation, I don't know if I would have been strong enough to turn around and congratulate the other guy like that. And he was very, like, even keel about it. Like, I get it. Because, like, that match was all but decided. And then for it to flip-flop the way it did, he took his gear off and turned around and handled it well. And then, like, I wanted to greet his coach. And, it just didn't happen. And then when that happened, like, I just very emotional in that moment. I had an outburst. And first off, public disrespect should always be followed with a public apology, right? So I've heard directly from the people who I've affected, right, that they
talking about the All-Stars,
Raymond, Tice, whoever might be offended. Shoot, anybody there watching it, any fan of them, if you saw that and you were moved negatively in any way, form, or fashion, right? If you saw that and you thought differently of me, first, I want to just apologize, because I told the guys right before we went on, I don't want to really repeat anything that happened, because I don't want to bring any more light to that, because that day we should be talking about Bailey Murphy's debut. So I apologize to Bailey. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shouldn't be something that we're sitting here talking about. So with that being said, I apologize to Raymond Daniels. I apologize to Elijah Everett. I apologize to Robbie, Jack, everybody who has been offended by what I might have said or done that day. If that made you feel uncomfortable or negative in any way, shape, or form or fashion, I want to apologize for that. However, I ain't gonna go that route. I apologize. So with that being said, you guys have my contact. You guys have my phone number. You guys know how to reach me. You can contact me. My karate school is in Sanford, Florida. So I'm about to take a page out of Cam Dawson's book. All right.
There you go.
Whatever the address is, I can't even remember it right now. But Town Center Boulevard, Sanford, Florida, Chop House, Sanford. Come see me. Like if you have real issues, come see me, man. And what did he say? Eye to eye, heart to heart, man to man. Like we can sit, we can talk about it, we can train it out, we can fight it out. Whatever you want to do, I got you. Like I'm not ducking any smoke. I will climb up the chimney, slide down the chimney, go around. I don't care. Like I'm not ducking smoke. But however, if you felt disrespected, I apologize. So that's me doing that. But with that being said, I don't want to defend my actions, but I felt disrespected before those actions. Before anything that I did, I felt disrespected as well. And I like to consider myself, like I know that I'm emotional, but I like to consider myself not sensitive. So for me to be hurt and respond the way I did, I understand that hurt people. So I could take my actions and I can hold myself accountable and apologize for that. But guess what? I can't take it back. I can't take back what I said. Right. So I can learn. I can learn from what I said. I can learn from my outbursts, and I can choose to be better for it as I move forward. So with that being said, I'm gonna act like I've been there before. I've been there, done that now. So the next time that happens, I'm going to try my best to not let that affect me the way it did. And honestly, that's been a recurring lesson in my life for the last several years. Like just controlling how you respond to negative stimuli, man. Like I've lost, things that I can't even put into words because of that. So with that being said, like I want to use that as a learning lesson. So I'm done with that. Whatever y'all want to ask me, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here for it. I don't want to be out too much.
I think you articulated that pretty well, but I do got a couple questions because
I have a couple answers for you.
I take a couple steps back and I think about it, and I'm like, man, you had almost a decade with the All-Stars.
Yeah, at least 7 years, 8 years, and that's me officially representing the team. Like,
right.
But before I officially got a uniform, like I had tried out and felt like part of the family for.
You're like the intern.
Almost a whole year before that. You feel me? And it's funny.
Right.
Like I'm, this isn't the forum for that, but I hadn't seen too many people have that process. After now, that's just me on the outside looking in, especially now.
Right.
Right. I don't know. Perhaps, maybe not. Maybe not. But that's just me saying that. And one thing, I saw a post the other day. The All-Stars is a family. And that's one thing I want. They are a family. And just like any family, bro, there's going to be conflict, but also hopefully conflict resolution. Like I still look at every one of those members as a brother. Now, whether they feel the same about me, that's left for them to say. But I feel like anybody who truly knows me, they understand that I never have the intention of disrespecting any of them, especially the guys that I went to war with. Like guys who I call my teammates, I would still do anything for them at the drop of a dime. Call is done, right? I still support all of these fighters. I cheer for them from afar. Like, I still look at them as brothers and family. So like if that's different after the weekend, then that's just them. That's a personal thing because like nothing has really changed for me. And I feel like all of us should be able to understand being in a fight, right? And saying or doing something out of emotion, either during or immediately after the fight. We're not ourselves. We're pumped up on adrenaline and all that good stuff. So when I settled down, probably 2 or 3 hours later, I had private conversations with most of the parties that, took offense. And, however that conversation went, that's how it went. But I remained me. And like, cool, you might want to say, oh, well, that ain't what I saw on the stage. Like, why are you promoting a different tone now? Well, that's because I'm sound me now. Like I'm of sound mind, and I'm actually aware of what's going on, right? I'm no longer acting out of hurt and frustration and emotion, right? I'm being logical now. I'm being a man versus, acting off of stimulus. So, yeah. What's your other questions, my brother? Come on.
Well, you were on the team for so long, but now you're not. What happened?
All right. The the same way you did a couple weeks with Master Plowden. If you really wanted my story, it would have to be something like that. But so can I pause you real quick because my device is on 3%. Can I throw it on the charger really quickly?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
I don't want
that's good. That's good.
Go grab it. Go grab a charger.
Oh, you're good.
This is really good stuff.
This is good stuff. I want to hit some points though, Alex.
You had everybody. You had
'Cause-
everybody.
Yeah, because here's the deal. There's a lot of things that happened this weekend, a lot of historical things as well that happened at Cowboy Up. So I want to give some flowers to Caitlin Vaughn because she became one of the first males that I know, anyone in sport karate, to win a forms, a weapons, and a fighting overall at a NASCA World Tour event. So that was huge for her to do that. And then also win the Korean Challenge too. So she won 4 times in the final. That's insane.
When I saw that post, I was like, "Oh my Lord!" Like,
I think she was in there 5 times. Yeah, she was in the show 5 times.
I can't say anything about this weekend. Caitlin did it up. Like, there's nothing for me to say at all about this weekend. Like, she is the person that should be on the podcast. Feel me?
That's interesting.
To her. Like, that was awesome. Great job, Caitlin.
I know individuals who have won forms grands or a fighting grands or a weapons grands, but to do 3 in an event
in the same event and then on stage that night though.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
I don't know anybody who's done that.
That's like,
yeah.
Where y'all sound effects, man? Where's Trav at? Come on.
Yeah, I know. We don't have that. I'm the one producing
And
all
claps.
that stuff, so.
And claps.
I know.
Awesome.
That was huge. There's a lot of also double winners or first time winners. You know, like you got Philip Brumet winning both of the CMX Grands. That's his first time as an adult. Congrats to him. Tim Conkle won both of the 30 Grands. Congrats to him. Diego Rodriguez won I spelled that wrong. Won his traditional again, staying consistent. Laney Barrett won the open weight and won the what's it called? Texas two-step. Sorry. The Texas two-step with you. So she had a great weekend of just, again, another person who's trying to do it all, right? Weapons, forms, fighting. So congrats to all those guys. And from what I heard, here's the deal. I've heard nothing but great things about this tournament. And I think, the plan from what I'm hearing is maybe to move it to later in the year. And, I think that they're going to continue to grow. Heard it was ran real well. So congrats to those guys, Cowboy Up.
Yeah, that was my first time going. I had nothing but positive feedback. I want to see it grow because, like, that was a really good event. Like I said, you saw some of the top-notch talent. Like, that open weight division, the numbers might not have been like what we're used to, but like the quality was still there. Like you saw people who have won or have been in the Final Four of the most recent open weights. Like there, three solid, really solid fighters that could have won. And unluckily I had the draw where I had to fight both of them. But it's funny because going into the fight, I was like, okay, cool. As long as they beat each other and I don't have to fight both of them, I think I'm good. And then what do you know? As soon as I thought that, I looked at the draw. I had to go through both of them. So shout out to Christian and shout out to Alex Mancias, man. They're both strong fighters who pushed me. Like I literally trained because of what I think they might be doing.
All right, so
Troy Sexton is texting me and he wants to know if you like your new nickname of Kevin Walker, Texas Ranger.
I love it. There you go. That's it, brother. That's it right there. Yeah, I like that. Kevin Walker, Texas Ranger. That's funny.
All right, so listen. You said already this night should have been really about something else, right? And so let's get into that.
Man, let's get into it, man.
Bailey Murphy wins his full contact debut, wins that, what was it? Is it the lightweight title? Is that what they were calling? Right?
Yeah, the Budo Championship League. He's the lightweight champion. Man, shout out to him for going over across the pond into the UK, into enemy territory, and doing the darn thing, right? This kid, this man has really, really impressed me for for the longest time, man. And I just love the fact that he's in such close proximity now because his habits, my habits, they're all rubbing together. And like, I'll be the first to say he is a huge reason why I am developing the way I am this late in my career, right? Like this guy, he pushes me to be the best version of myself. All right, him, Devin, Tyreek. I thank God for these guys every day. Like I kind of feel myself getting emotional right now because I don't think they understand how much they mean to me, right? Like you would not be seeing me fighting right now if it wasn't for them.
Whoa.
After Diamonds, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. They practically groveled for me to continue. And a lot of that is happening because I wasn't able to make Waco Worlds last year. So, I want to make sure I can go help these guys and bring it back home the next time. So that's why I'm still out here. I was asked very nicely by these guys. He was like, Kev, you can't stop. You can't stop. Because there's other goals and dreams that I really have for myself in the immediate future. And I'm still working towards them, but I learned that I can do that and still do this at a high level. So, that's why you're seeing me out so much. Because if you look back at last year and the year before that, I really wasn't out as much as I normally would be. Granted, it was still out a lot. Still more than your average competitor, but way less, probably by half of what I would normally do. So,
but again, Kevin, you're not an average competitor, so we never should even compare ourselves to average competitors. You know what I mean? It's like
what I meant by average competitor is like how much the person would, But
like the activity amount of an average competitor.
I know what you're saying. I'm just,
a lot of that.
You know what I mean? It's
a lot of that comes from my upbringing, right? My instructor, I guess, was known for that, right? He would just go anywhere and everywhere. He's not ducking smoke, bro. I will put myself to the challenge against anybody, anytime, because what happens is those weekends when I'm not doing something, it just feels weird, and then I'm stuck with like trying to kick my butt in training. I'm trying to train as hard as I can. Like if I don't have an event, I'm trying to do the toughest workouts as I can. So I'm really like saving myself for myself when I go to these tournaments, So yeah.
All right, so let's talk about how Bailey won. He won with a TKO. This dude was killing it with the spin kicks.
Did you guys watch the whole fight?
So I'm waiting to get the full fight, and we was actually supposed to watch it as a group last night, but we're gonna watch it soon together. But I've seen most of the clips, man. Very impressive stuff. I'm so proud of him. He went over and did exactly what I knew he was capable of. And yeah, man, like this dude, he's been training so hard. He's been training with like the who's who down here, and he's been doing his thing. Like I'm not at liberty to really discuss how he's been killing it down here, but he's doing it. And like I expect nothing less. I expect more of the same to come from him. And
who's he training with?
So I believe he and Devin train at the fusion spot down here mostly, but then also they train together. So the three of us are going to really start training even more on that side of the realm when they get back. So they're both in Europe right now, and they're training, getting ready for an event this weekend. I feel sorry for whoever lines up in front of them. And yeah, like these guys are going to come back beasts. So
crazy.
The immediate future for the PFP Road Squad, man, is scary business. Shout out to Ty too, man. He's holding it down. Like you might not have seen him out like that this year, but he's gotten out the last couple of weeks and he's been making a lot of noise. So Ocean State is gonna be excited. So we all joked last night. Maybe I shouldn't be giving y'all too much insight, but everybody's talking about how they need to get that money, and I made a joke at them. I was like, that's so good for y'all because they are awarding 2nd through 8th.
I like it.
I made a great joke. I made a great joke with the family, and that's the cool thing. Like in a few days, I want y'all to really look out. We're going to show y'all that it is okay. Like there's only one true winner when we go out, and guess what? The four of us, we're a family. We want to win, but just as bad as we want to win, we want to see everybody else succeed, right? And just because one person succeeds, that doesn't mean everybody else fails.
Right.
Right. We can all be successful in crowning a champion. Now, I don't mean that in a moral victory type of manner, right? This just goes back to the results are the results, but did you get better, right? Are you primed to learn from that loss that you took? You know, if you're just gonna sulk, then that's it. But if you're gonna, take the lesson and get better, then you can rock with me, because everybody can't win every time, unless you're just that dog.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
What you got to say? Hey, come on. You thinking? Come on,
Alex, yeah, what are you thinking, man?
Well, you're kind of not telling the whole story.
All right, which whole story? What you want to hear,
But
brother?
here's what. But before I get to that, I'm curious, because you were just like, "Oh, it's great because you guys they're giving out second, third, and fourth money, so that's great for you guys," which is funny yet also very confident. I'm a little curious. What would you do? What would you spend the money on?
Oh man, so I have a strict I don't want to call it budget, but strict money allocation system. Right. So every dollar that I get is split up into different categories. Right. So there's a percentage for investing. There's a percentage for like, I don't want to say spending money, but like just my actual money. There's a percentage to be actually just put away, like physically. Like I have my own like physical bank, and
Piggy bank.
spend, and then if there's something that I'm trying to like pay off, whether it's a goal or debt, the rest goes to that. And so like I went to school for finance. I was a finance major, so for like the last several years I've been like active investor and trader. So a lot of what I make goes directly to that. Now, I don't want y'all to think that I just take everything I make and just dump it in the markets, because I don't. That would be highly irresponsible. But I take a good percentage of every dollar that I make, and it's put to work. And then when I get it from the back end, that's what gets spent. So yeah. So how much are they giving? Because I haven't even looked too much.
4,000 for open weight winner. Yeah.
4,000 for the winner.
Yeah, for the winner. Yep.
Yeah, so if I got that, a good 40% of that would be invested, and 10% of that will be in my physical bank. So that leaves us with 50%. That's pretty much just sitting in my account, and then some of that will be going towards people and other business things. But yeah, like that's pretty much how it would work, just in a nutshell.
So let's say this. Well, I'm going to ask you this. What's the purchase that you've made in the past that you were like, that was freaking stupid? And you were like, I got this money. Bam.
All right.
Freaking dumb. What did you do?
I'm not trying to change your question, but
okay.
A time when I got a sum of money from a tournament. Diamond 17 was spent on a 2018 MacBook Air.
Okay.
Why is that bad?
No, it wasn't bad. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to change your question.
That was like the most. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad purchase, but however, everything I won from the grand
went to that,
and the runoff went to that. However, here's what I didn't tell you though. That Thursday when I got there, I taught like a impromptu seminar like on the in the rings, like Joe Boone and Troy Sexton. They had already set everything up, so we're on the outdoor rings by the pool. This is back at the DoubleTree.
Yeah.
Like I say, impromptu. It was already scheduled for some people, but other people that saw it happening, they was like, "Oh, how can I get down with this?" That was impromptu. So I had like 30 people at a Diamond Nationals Thursday seminar, like with me. So I made the grand.
You already had the money. Yeah.
Prize before I even fought teams.
That's right.
Which is probably why I fought so well too. There was no real pressure on me that weekend. So, but yeah. So I still had a grand championship prize, but the grand championship prize went to a MacBook Air, and it was a good purchase. But I can't really tell you about a boneheaded purchase like that. The most thing like that probably was my last car that I actually bought. I got a 2006 Pontiac G6, This was like back in 2014. I bought it. I was like when you're in college. That was it was a tough purchase because I needed it, but at the
Brother
same
had that exact same car, same
it-
year, everything.
Two-door coupe, peanut butter interior. Like you couldn't tell me nothing, man. I'm 20, buying that car, and I'm like, and for that very reason, I haven't bought a car since.
Yeah.
What's the dumbest thing you've ever done, Jeff?
Dude, listen. You're talking
Dumbest
to the person. No, time out. Remember, I'm the person that won a motorcycle and didn't ride it. Okay, so I'm like super.
You didn't tell me you didn't
like,
ride it.
No, I gave it right back. I gave it right back to the company. I got my money for it. I was like, hey, I sold it.
Man.
Yeah, and it was like, I didn't want to, because again, I didn't want to deal with taking it all the way back there, all this and that. No, my whole thing was, you know what? I just won with these legs. Let me not mess that up, right? So I won a bunch of this. I won all the grands. I won the overall grand, everything. I won it was probably 8, 9, back then in one tournament. So that was pretty dang good. 18. I just graduated high school. So I got all that graduation money too. It was a good couple of weeks for me, man. And that money was just put in an account, and then again, some investment to be done. And then that was like spending money for college for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like on stupid stuff. So yeah, I guess overall that was a dumb, spending, but at least I let it spread out right over time.
But you didn't have like one thing.
No, anytime, or here's the deal. Anytime that I ever thought, you know what, let me get some nice pair of sunglasses, that's a bad move. Because you know what
That's
I
always
did?
a bad move.
I lost them. So
Lose
never
them.
again.
Step on it.
Lose.
Go to the dollar store. They look the exact same. I promise you.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I'm never getting a good pair again. There's no reason. Exactly. Just do that. But yeah,
All right, I
think
got
those-
one. You guys are too responsible.
Wait, I wanna
got
hear-
one. So I did. This was a thing. This is so weird. I think I told you this, Jeff. There was this. I got this flyer. You know, when you run in a karate school, you just get this flyer for this karate tournament. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go to this rinky-dink tournament.
yeah.
All right, I'm good. And I get this one, and it says, like, all grand champions compete at the end of the season for 2 tickets to Vegas plus accommodations. And I'm
Right.
like, wait, what? What? So if I go to this tournament, this podunk tournament, and I win a grand championship, they take the grand champions throughout the year. They compete against each other. And if I win that, you're going to send me to Vegas with accommodations?
Hey, all right.
I'm 20 years old. So I'm like, I'll take that bet.
That's no
So
bueno.
I
You can't-
go.
you can't do
I
that.
win. The end of the season, I win. I'm still 20 years old.
Yeah,
You can't do nothing in Vegas at 20 years old.
exactly.
Well, I'm like, shit. So I call the guy up. Worrying about that was secondary. Win first, worry about the details second, right? So I call him up and I said, listen, this is going to be a bad move if I go to Vegas, which is probably the only smart thing of this scenario that I did, right? I said, listen, what would I get if I cash this out? He says, I'll give you $500. So I'm like, fine. Okay, I'll take it. Also a dumb thing. But I'm not in a real negotiating position, right? I've already disclosed the information that I'm not going to go and that I can't go, right? So it's over. I've already given up my hand. Whatever, got it. Gives me the $500. Now, what I wanted to do, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted a Movado. You guys know the watch Movado. So I go there and I realized right away I've got clearly enough to buy a Movado Plus. So I'm like, forget the Movado, man. I'm gonna look around a little bit. And then I'm like, let me get this Raymond Weil. Now, if anybody knows anything about watches, the Raymond Weil watch is a really nice watch. It's like $2,000. I don't have $2,000. I have about $500. So I'm like, shit. I really want this watch. So then I do stupid 20-year-old stuff. And they go, well, if you open up, and this is when they just changed from they used to be. This is taking it back from being called Dayton's to Marshall Fields. This is when they used to do that, right? This is when the store was that, but now it's Macy's. But yada yada, all right? So if you open up a Marshall Fields card, then you could just get it on the card, and then you'll finance it later. And I'm like, perfect, boom, sign me up. That was the worst thing ever. I remember it was the worst. Like hurrying up just to make payments on this thing, just the last interest only payments, because and then here comes the question: what happened to the watch?
Just about to ask you that.
Lost that watch at the bottom of Lake Minnetonka.
Oh Lord.
I'm wearing it like this, and I'm out there on a boat thinking I'm something, and then boop, boom, and there's no, you drop anything, you cannot find anything in that lake. No. That is gone forever. So that sucks.
Yes.
That's not like that's a good example.
And that's a great example for what not to do.
And like, let me get kudos on the storytelling. That actually, like, I've heard a few more like long-winded than that, and you actually got to the point, and it fit what was going on too. That was dope. That was good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, look, Abeda's right. I probably paid $4,000 for an $800 watch. You're right. I probably did.
That goes against like 7 rules in my financial responsibility course.
That's so crazy. True. Oh man, yo, Kevin, it's been good, man. This has been really good, dude. Thank you for coming on, talking about your the past couple months and just the journey. I think it's cool because we've talked about you for years of someone that's gone everywhere and done everything in the sport. And the key thing is you kind of took people through that process too of what it was like to do that. And I'm sure there's so much more. We've had you on with your instructor. I think we even had you on for just like a small little thing one time, then now
go ahead.
And then now having you on by yourself to talk about this and everything going on. And dude, congrats to you, dude. Like it's awesome to see you continue to grow, and again, man, you can do this however long you want to do it, obviously. Right. But it's cool to see you, you hit that next level of not just training, but mental and growth too, man. So keep that up, dude.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Can I just say, like, I feel like the growth, not only just as a competitor, because honestly, Bailey made this point to me last year. Like, yeah, I think this was your best year. Last year, age 29, I had my best competitive year. And that doesn't mean like I didn't have good years before that, because I definitely had great years before that. But like last year was my best year. And guess what? This year, if we stay on this trend, this year will be significantly better than last year. And like I said, I was going through a lot of stuff personally that I didn't allow myself to really promote myself as much as I probably should have. Because first off, there's a fine line between positive self-promotion and that just in yourself too much arrogance, gloating, right? So I try to stay away from that, just because the aura of confidence that I carry around myself already rubs people the wrong way. Like I hear the whispers. The good thing is I don't care about other people's opinions though. I never have, right? But there are certain individuals that I hold in high regard that I'm curious about what they have to think. Now, what they think doesn't sway me, doesn't change what I do, but a lot of times I like for those people who I care for, I like for their view of me to kind of somewhat align with my own. However, over the last couple of years, that physical growth or mental growth that I've had, it won't allow me to subscribe to that. Like I couldn't care less what somebody else thinks of me, because I know what I'm there for, and I know my heart. So like there's been plenty of times people try to paint me out to be a fraud or all this stuff, and let them say what they're going to say. Like I'm not going to chase a lie, and I'm not going to give my energy towards things that don't serve me, right? And like it took me to learn a lot of lessons, a lot of valuable lessons, especially like outside of karate. I'm not even talking about karate when we have this conversation, right? There's been a lot of areas of growth in my life just over the last 3-4 years even longer than that. The pandemic really forced me
Mm.
to take a look deep in the mirror. And I've always considered myself to be pretty self-aware, right? And just as I grow and get better, like, you know, that's it. I get better. And I never want to take steps backwards. So whenever I notice those lessons coming again, because that's one thing I learned. Those things are going to continue to repeat themselves until you prove that you've learned from it and that you can fight that urge or whatever that you're fighting. If you can't accomplish that or go over that, it's going to keep happening. And that's why I keep being presented with these situations for me to respond to something that I didn't like. And I like to think I'm doing a better job of it. So here recently, this weekend was the first time I kind of slid back into that in a very long time. And you know, I beat myself up over it the last couple of days. And then on top of that, I say that to say, I'm taking a page out of Coach Prime's book, man. Don't let my confidence and my conviction, like, don't let that offend you and your insecurities or your deficiencies. Like, you know, I'm not going to dim my light anymore. Like that's something that I've learned over the last several years. Like, it's okay to shine, and you know, nobody that is doing more than you is going to criticize you, especially negatively. So I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
All
All right,
Man,
Alex.
it's been a great time. Glad to have you on. This
Yes.
has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff.
Appreciate you.
I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. That's Kevin Walker. See you
Yeah,
guys next time. Thank you.